Hi, welcome back to Amanda Loves Sense and Books. I am going to go over recent reads. I was kind of in a book slump there for a little bit, and I didn't do a recent reads wrap up for June, July, and then of course September, so August. So I'm going to do all of those in just one big video. So thank y'all for coming and watching my video, and I hope you enjoy it and stick around. What I read for June, I read 4, and I DNF'd 1. So, the first book I read was 4 Winds by Kristin Hannah. I really liked this book. It was basically talking about the Dust Bowl, when the Dust Bowl happened in the 1930s. About this family that lived, I think it was Oklahoma. It's been a minute since I've read it, but anyway, they're trying to move to California because that's where you're supposed to get rich and everything, and it's just a lot of a mother trying to do what she can for her kids, and it really pulled at my heartstrings, as most Kristin Hannah books will. Yeah, it was really good. If you can read it, definitely do. I do recommend that Kristin Hannah book if you like historical fiction, of course. The next one was The Guest List by Lucy Foley. It was kind of a thriller-esque book. It was one of my books I wanted to read for 2023, and I did read it, and I wasn't expecting what happened at the end, but basically it's this couple's having a wedding at this secluded almost resort that used to be really big, and then things happen and it's not as big as it used to be, but the people owning it want it to be bigger, and they're hoping that this couple that's really big and famous will bring attraction to it, and there's secrets on it about each one of the like the maid of honor, the bride, the groom, the best man, and you don't realize who is gonna, one person dies, but you don't realize who it's gonna be and who is gonna do it. So that's basically the synopsis of that one. The next one I DNF'd, and I didn't want to because but I tried, and it was just, I couldn't get into it. Like most memoirs I can get into. I really liked Matthew McConaughey's memoir. I liked Katie Swanson's memoir of her autism journey. There's been a few other ones I've read, but this Prince Harry's Spare, I just could not get into it. And it was like, I listened to it on audio. I borrowed it from Libby, and I'd been on a month's wait, and it finally came available, and I got to about the 40% mark, and I DNF'd it. I returned it early to the library. I was like, I'm not vibing with this book. So I did DNF that one. The next one I read was Hotel Nantucket by Elin Hildebrandt. This girl is trying to bring this hotel back to life. It was bought by a millionaire or billionaire, whatever, but he's got a bunch of money. Anyway, he hires her to try to get a person to give it 5 stars, like your 5 keys, like a 5-star resort, and they're trying by the end of the summer to get these 5 keys, and they don't know who this person is who comes in, who gives these 5 keys. You never know when she's going to drop by, which hotel she's going to go to. She has her name anonymous. You don't know who this person is. And it's a really good, it was my very first Elin Hildebrandt book, and I really liked it. The next one I read was Lore Olympus, Volume 1 by Rachel Scythe. It's just a Hades and Persephone graphic novel. Is pretty much, and it's where she's trying to navigate the world without her mom being all down her back, that goes, and it's just another way to tell the Hades and Persephone story. it was pretty good. I do want to continue in the series. It's just I haven't picked it up yet. I did borrow that one from my library. I just haven't picked the second volume up yet. And that was it for June. July, I read 2 books. As you can tell, I got into a book slump in July. And I soft DNF'd one because I had to return it to the library. It was too, I had to return it because I ran out of time borrowing the book. But the first one I read was Blood Sugar by Sasha Rothchild. It's about this woman who is convicted of 4 murders, but she only murdered 3 people. And one of the murders she's convicted of is her husband's murder. And you find out whether she did it or she didn't do it, if she committed all of these murders and how she did them, or if she did them, how they can say if it was an accident or if it was intentional, or it has really good diabetic representation in it, and that was another reason I picked it up, because I'm a type 1 diabetic. So, you know, you don't see that in a lot of books. So, it was really good. The next one was, I borrowed it from the library. It came available on Libby. I listened to it audio. Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. It's basically a memoir of his life. And I really enjoyed that one. I vibed with that one. But it's the memoir of how he grew up and how he became famous and met his wife. And it was just, if you want to know more about Matthew McConaughey, listen or read Green Lights. And you'll find out why he calls it Green Lights too. It was really cool how he put all of that together in that book. And then the one I soft DNF, because I do want to finish reading it, because I got to about 300 something pages and then I had to return the book. Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I love Things We Never Got Over. I finished that one in like 4 days, but this one, I don't know if it's just because I was in a book slump or what, but I just could not finish it in time to bring it back before I had to bring it back to the library, because I read that one physically. I do think it's on Kindle, but I don't know for sure, so I need to look, and if I can, I'm going to finish it on my Kindle. Those were the 3 for July. The next month, I started August. I had a pretty good reading month. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 books, because I'm in the middle of one, and I'm like a little over 100 pages. I'm like 63% into one of the books. So I should finish that one in like next day or so. So you'll get to hear more about that book at the end of September, because I didn't finish it in August. So, If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. This story is basically they're friends through they were friends growing up in elementary school. They live right next door to each other. They have dinners together, and basically they grew apart, and they still like have dinners and stuff together. They figures out like what happened to drive them apart, and realize that they did have feelings for each other, or if they don't have feelings for each other. It's a really good young adult book. If you like 1,000 Boy Kisses, you'll probably like this one. There is a second book coming in February, and I didn't realize that the way it ended that I would want to automatically read the second book. So definitely, if you don't like ending on a cliffhanger, wait until the second book comes out. But yeah. The next one was a graphic novel, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas by Uriel Shumo. I think that's how you say his name, or her name. Basically it's this girl, and she's dying. She has something wrong with her pancreas. I can't remember exactly the terminology for it, but she hasn't told anyone. None of her friends know except for her family. Nobody else knows in her life, not even her best friend. But this kid she writes in a journal, and this guy picks up her journal one day at a doctor's office, and it's like how to live with dying or something like that. And they develop a friendship over the course of her getting ready to die, and it's just a beautiful story of how to deal with grief or get ready for dealing with grief. Like, none of us know when we're going to be taken and why we're going to be taken or how. And the way she dealt with it, she was so positive about it, and she was trying to push this onto this other guy, or this guy that came into her life. And I feel like he needed her more than she needed him. But anyway, it's a really good book. You should pick it up. There also is a novel on it, as well as a movie. I have not read the novel. I have it. I bought it. And then there's a movie. I haven't watched the movie yet. But if you want a tearjerker graphic novel, definitely read I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. This next book I read on Kindle, and it put me through it. Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. You've probably heard of this book. If you like dark romance, this is probably one of those. Look up your triggers before reading this book. You hear me? Don't say I didn't warn you. This book starts out where they kind of hate each other, but not hate each other. It's a sister-in-law and a future brother-in-law. They get kidnapped together, and they get tortured and having to go through things in it's like a basement type thing where this kidnapper kidnaps them, and eventually they get out, and it's how to deal with the grief of getting through something like that. Like the emotional torment that it puts you through, and realizing, do they need each other? Do they want each other? Should they? Because he was engaged to her sister, and like, should they continue life as if they left it before they got locked in the basement? And it would put you through the ringer. Like, this is definitely a dark romance. Definitely look up your triggers for this book, because it's not for the faint of heart. The next one I read was I guess you could say a novella. It was only a little over 115 pages, maybe. A Spindle Splintered. It is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. And Sleeping Beauty is my favorite Disney princess. Like, Aurora is my favorite Disney. I know people love Belle and Cinderella, but Sleeping Beauty and Maleficent, they're my favorite Disney characters. But this one is a Sleeping Beauty retelling for the modern age. I don't want to go any more than that because it's so short, but definitely read that book. If you like Sleeping Beauty retellings. It's I wouldn't say, it's not a YA, but early adult fantasy, because it does have quite a bit of cursing in it, and so I wouldn't say it's for a teenager unless they can handle that, and then that's fine, but not a middle grade. Definitely not a middle grade book. The next one I listened to on audio is How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis. Basically, it helps you try to feel normal when you don't feel like doing things around the house. Say you just want to clean one room, or you only want to clean for 10 minutes. It is okay. Like, that's basically what this story is about. You do things that some people may not prioritize, or they only pick certain dates, and it's okay. Like, that's what she went into that book about. The next one I started, and I just haven't finished it yet. I'm about 64% left into the book. Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood. I should finish this in the next day or so, depending on how much time I get to read. My son's birthday is coming up, or well, you might as well say it's this weekend. It's Monday, but he's out for his birthday because it's Labor Day. Anyway, so I don't know how much reading I'll get done this weekend with it being his birthday weekend. Anyway, Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood. You've probably all heard of it. but it's supposed to have good diabetic representation in it, and that's the whole reason I picked it up. I will let y'all know my thoughts on it the end of September, because as I said, I've not finished it, but so far it's going pretty good. But what did y'all read this month? Did you have any good books? Are you in a book slump like I was and trying to get out of it? You have any recommendations on some of the books I did like and some of the ones I didn't, let me know. And if you want to leave an emoji, if there's a cauldron emoji, because my cauldron's back here, I'm just starting to decorate for fall, I'll leave a cauldron or a witch hat emoji, because it's September 1st. And we are officially in the middle of, or the start of spooky season. But yeah, I hope y'all have a good rest of the day, and thank you for watching.